evening, ladies and gentlemen.
Hello.
We've got a couple of matches to tell you about, haven't we?
Certainly have. Last couple of days we've fished some lovely matches, haven't we?
Absolutely, absolutely. Right, we'll start with New Year's Eve. And we went to Lindholme Lakes, didn't we?
We did. Woodseats angling match. Drew next to each other, didn't we?
We did, unfortunately.
How did they get on?
I had a lovely day's fishing, mate, to be fair.
Did
I
you?
had absolutely cracking day's fishing. I started off fishing short pole with pellets. Well, not short, about 11 metres with pellets. I couldn't get a bite on it. And this ginger kid opposite me, right, spawny, lucky, ginger-haired character,
Fisherman.
caught F1s all day short. You know, bagged up. And I'm like, what's he doing, him? Couldn't catch on that. Neither did anybody else. So I chucked a little hybrid feeder to his end of the lake, where the wind was breaking into a beautiful ripple on his end of the lake. And it went round a few times. I caught a few F1s on the feeder. I thought, this is quite nice. And in the last sort of hour, I've caught some real quality F1s on maggots on the short pole. But I did have a few problems going into the last 10 minutes. I foul-hooked a few fish, and I was just like, this isn't ideal. But it was a nice match all in all. I ended up with 46 pounds, 2 ounces. And that ginger kid I mentioned opposite, who was sat there with a nice ripple in front of him all day, and bagged up on the short pole, weighed 46 pound, 10 ounces. But luckily for me, I did enough to win the section and come third on the lake, but he did beat me. How was your day, mate?
I had a fantastic day, mate.
Did you?
I had a great start to the match. I was feeling a bit worse for wear. I've been out night before.
I've been out with girls, haven't I?
Been out with girls, been out with them, and I drinking cocktails.
Champagne cocktails.
We had a steak fondue party
Did
after.
you really?
Fantastic it was. But anyway, that's by the by. Started my match. I thought my plan was just to set one rig up, start in one spot, and when I stopped catching, I was going to put my plummet back on and plumb another one up.
Yeah.
So I did exactly that.
Yeah.
Started at 6 metres in front of me, dead simple, just fed 20 micro pellets.
Yeah.
Really, really frugal feeding approach.
Lovely.
An expander on the hook. And I had a lovely start, probably caught 8 to 10 F1s in the first hour on it. And then things started to peter out a bit. It wasn't helped by the fact the guy opposite, I can't remember his name, I think it was Tom Scholey or something.
Great looking guy.
He started launching a method feeder towards me, so I had to get up at that point and put my hard hat on.
Yes.
You know, I gave him a warning or two. He was getting closer and closer by the moment.
Well, you know, it is known in Atholl to want to encroach to where the fish are.
Yes.
Did you like my distraction technique before I cast in?
Yes, like this sort of thing.
Look out! There is a horse heading towards you, sir. And as he turned round and looked, I cast in his peg. Fantastic.
But anyway.
I didn't really, by the way. I only went halfway.
And then when Bart's dried up, I put my plummet on, plumbed up another spot and started again. And I caught a few in the middle of the match, but it wasn't great. You had to keep moving about and starting a new lineup. And then last hour, when that light started to drop, I thought, I'm going to catch a few back where I started. So I went back where I started, caught 8 or 10 more F1s. And it was enough just to pip you, wasn't it?
Well, why don't you tell the ladies and gentlemen about the 4 pound, foul-hooked, blind F1 that you caught after time?
What happened was I was under a lot of pressure. Got to the late stages of the day. And I thought, I need one more fish to beat him here. So what I did was I actually went an inch past my bait. Alright, and lowered my rig in.
Yeah.
And I had him straight away, and I thought it was a fantastic bit of angling, yeah.
An inch past your bait.
But we've got to say well done to the match and lake winner.
We have. Mark Holmes has won both matches, or both times he's won his lake, should I say. We've been to Lindholme this winter, hasn't he? He won our lake with £48. Chris Greensides did really well to win the match overall.
It's
He had £70
Chris,
from peg 16 on Lowell. A great performance.
Well done, Chris.
And that was New Year's Eve, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And then we had a great night, New Year's Eve night, didn't we?
We certainly did. A few beers, a few real ales in the
we had
Sheffield
some
pub.
nice real ale. The Brothers Arms at Healy, the White Lion.
And the Sheaf View.
Just a fantastic night, wasn't it?
Fantastic night. And we had a great day, New Year's Day then,
We
didn't
did.
we? Tell them how.
We had a
tell them how
late
it
draw.
went.
We had a late draw because we knew we were going out. So we organised this match to draw at 11. And there were a few turned up. We went to Barlow Fisheries near Chesterfield. Nice breakfast.
Lovely lakes.
Yeah, and I was lucky that day, and I drew next to one of my angling heroes. I drew next to Matt Godfrey.
Again,
for the first time this year, I drew next to Matt Godfrey.
And did that beat him?
Well, I wouldn't so much say beat, I would say absolutely destroyed.
Drilled him into the ground.
By whole 8 ounces.
Fantastic.
But it was a lovely, lovely day's fishing. I caught some fish to start with on short pole with maggots and worms. And then I just sort of kept loose feeding along the line. And I went on that sort of 2 hours and caught the odd fish. But importantly, I sort of kept a couple of sections behind me because Barlow's a very shallow, clear venue. And what happens is, when you get a match on it, the fish sort of back off into the areas where there's no pressure. So by leaving myself an area in front of me where I wasn't fishing, while everybody else went to the limit of their pegs, a lot of fish backed off in front of me. In the last hour, I really had a good spell, didn't I?
You did.
Caught some quality roach on casters.
They're lovely fish, aren't they, there?
Yeah. Oh, great.
Proper
Lovely. You don't get many.
roach.
You don't get many bites, but or when you get one, it's always a good one. And I ended up with £11.10, I think, wasn't it? Which was enough to come second on the match. Well done to Rich Bonson.
Awesome display of angling.
Who won the match with £13.
I think he got on pellets, didn't he?
Yeah, but more importantly, I beat one of my angling heroes.
You know what? I don't think I've beat you off the next peg this year, have I?
I don't think. Yeah, I've framed in every match I've been on this year.
Fantastic.
Great, isn't it?
You fished a lot of matches this year, haven't you, as well?
Yeah, I fished one up to now.
Well done.
Thanks.
Fantastic display.
Talk them through your day.
I had not a lot to talk about for the first part of it. I decided to fish with maggots and casters, and fed a couple of different lines, and caught nothing for 3 and 3/4 hours of the match. It was freezing cold, gin clear, and I noticed that Rich, who won the match, was catching on pellets, and I didn't expect that to work at all. It was gin clear, flat, calm, real proper winter's day. First frost we've had. I thought never going to catch on pellets, and he started catching on them. So with an hour to go, I had no option but to get some out of my bag, feed them, and well, I really regretted not doing it from the start. I caught 5 or 6 brown goldfish, a fan-tailed goldfish, and 5 or 6 big skimmers on it. I ended up with £9.12, something like that. Most of that caught in the last hour.
Lovely day's fishing, then.
And learn as well. You should always keep your mind and options open.
Definitely. I would never even consider pellets.
No.
And Rich had it dead right, did he?
You did. Well
Fair
done,
play
Rich.
to him. Fair play to him. Right, we've decided to include a little extra this month. Or this video, should I say, for you, haven't we? We're going to talk you through our 2 best rigs from the best matches that we've just talked about. So, Matt's going to start and he's going to talk you through the rig he used at Lindo.
The rig I used at Lindo was this little bad boy. The float itself is a Mick Wilkinson wire slim. Now, you put me onto these some time ago. You put me onto the carbon version.
I love the carbon ones, yeah.
But I had a word with Mick and he says, try the wires. He sent me some and they're really, really good floats. As you can see from this little clip here, they're the slim pattern. They've got a hollow plastic bristle. Really nice for fishing pellets, that sort of thing, for F1s. 011 main line. And I fished with an 09 hook length, which is quite light, but I never got broke, didn't really lose many fish.
It's amazing what fish you can land on 09 power.
It is, isn't it?
I mean, I've even used that, believe it or not, 09 power line at Belingi. On the Preston Festival. There's a lot of pressure. It's had 2 weeks of festival pressure. I'm a massive believer that fishing like that makes a big difference for big wary carp in clear water.
100% agree. And F1s in particular.
And you rarely get broke, do you? If ever,
No.
You know.
It's quite a heavy float I used for the depth of water, only sort of 4.5, 5 foot deep, but it's 14 number 11 float, but it takes, what's about 10 or 11 number 10 shot.
And that was just a strung bulk, was it?
I actually fish, a strung bulk, starting 6 inches from the hook length knot, with my shots about 1 inch apart. Typical sort of pellet rig, but you know, a nice heavy one that's stable and you can lower the bait in dead slowly. I think that's quite important. It's nice and stable whenever you're lowering it in.
Brilliant.
And a size 18 Drennan silverfish pellet up.
Lovely.
Now, you tell me about this little bad boy, what you used to batter me on the next peg with.
Well, it was the Old Faithful for me. It's probably my favourite float pattern of all time. I use this float for everything from river fishing with hemp and maggots to like caster fishing on canals and even soft pellet fishing on commercials. But I used it at Barlow. It's a Preston Chianti. It's in the 4x12 size. I also had a 4x10 pattern set up, which I used through the day when it was a bit harder. But then last hour, when I knew the fish were there and they were catching quite quickly, 4x12 just helped to get that bait down. Cause I found that I got better stamped fish when my bait was presented hard on the bottom.
Right.
So these have got a lovely cane tip, as you can see, which you can dot down but still give a nice positive indication, a carbon stem and a slim profile which helps them fall nice and steadily through the water. Shotting wise, it was strung number 11 shots. A 4x12 float takes about 13 or 14 number 11.
14, 13's unlucky.
Well, that's it then. 14. It takes a nice heavy capacity for its size, you might say. That was mounted on 010 power line, main line, down to an 07 power line hook length, with a size 16 green gamma hook. Now
Nice
these,
hooks, them,
oh,
aren't
I love them for this kind of fishing. When when it's sort of big roach. Not only do I think you get more bites because through a light pattern, so your bait behaves more naturally as it falls through the water. I think more importantly, they're very fine hooks, so they go in. So you strike, they just seem to hit a lot of bites on green gammas. And that was my rig.
Fantastic.
So folks, on behalf of the team, tight lines for the new year.
And we will see you next week. We've got a nice, exciting weekend. 2 days fishing.
We have.
And we will see you next week.
We'll have a lot to report next week.
We'll let you know how we go on.
Bye-bye, love you.
Toodle pip.